Let's talk about the incredible chemical balancing act that's happening inside you right now. It is a constant, high-stakes battle that your body is fighting every single second, just to keep you alive.
All right, let's just jump right in with a question that sounds, well, kind of dramatic, but is totally fundamental to your survival. How is it possible that you can exist in a sea of your own self-generated acid?
And when I say a flood, I'm not exaggerating. The very process that turns your food into energy, the thing that powers every move you make, every thought you have, it's constantly churning out acidic waste products. We're talking about a massive amount of acid every single day.
So to survive that constant acid attack, your body fanatically, obsessively defends this one number, a pH of 7.4. And you have to understand, the margin for error here is razor thin. If your blood pH dips just a little below 7.35, you're in a state called acidemia. If it goes up past 7.45, that's alkalemia. Going too far either way is frankly catastrophic. Why? Because this slightly alkaline state is the absolute perfect environment for all of life's most critical chemical reactions to happen.
So, where is all this dangerous acid actually coming from? Well, you know that old saying in horror movies, the call is coming from inside the house? In this case, the acid is coming from inside your own cells. It really all starts with the simple basics of being alive, right? You eat food, your cells take that fuel, they use oxygen to burn it, and just like a tiny little engine, they produce exhaust. And the main exhaust gas from your trillions of cellular engines is carbon dioxide.
Now here's the kicker. CO2 itself isn't technically the acid. The problem is that your body is, well, mostly water. So when all that CO2 dissolves in the water inside your blood, this reaction happens. It forms carbonic acid, and that stuff immediately releases hydrogen ions, the H+ you see there. And that, my friends, is the very definition of an acid. More hydrogen ions means a lower, more acidic pH.
And the stakes here could not be higher. I mean, if the pH goes off kilter, the hemoglobin in your blood can't deliver oxygen to your tissues properly. Your proteins, which are like these tiny folded molecular machines, they literally unfold and stop working. It's a process called denaturation. And pretty soon, the entire biochemical factory that is you just grinds to a halt.
So to really get the elegant solution your body has for this problem, we first need to appreciate the stage where this whole drama plays out, water. And it's not just some passive liquid. No, it's an active participant with some really incredible properties.
You see, water's secret is its shape. The big oxygen atom is kind of greedy. It hogs the electrons, which gives it a slight negative charge. That leaves the two little hydrogen atoms with a slight positive charge. So water is polar, basically like a tiny magnet, with a positive end and a negative end.
And this polarity, it changes everything. It's what allows water molecules to stick to each other through these weak little attractions called hydrogen bonds. The legendary chemist Linus Pauling put it best. He said these bonds are probably the single most important structural feature for all of life's chemistry. That's a huge statement.
Okay, so we've got a constant acid threat playing out in this special environment of water. Now, let's meet the heroes of our story, your body's molecular guardians. Let's talk about buffers.
So what is a buffer? You can think of it like a chemical shock absorber. Its entire job is to soak up any excess acid or to release a little bit of acid if things get too alkaline, all to stop these huge, dangerous swings in pH.
And this chart just shows you how ridiculously powerful they are. Check this out. If you add just one drop of a strong acid to pure water, the pH plummets from a neutral 7 all the way down to 2. That is a 100,000-fold increase in acidity. It's wild. But add that exact same drop to a solution that has a buffer in it, and the pH barely even moves. It's incredible.
You know, a great way to picture this is to think of a buffer as being like a UPS, an uninterruptible power supply, but for protons, for acid. If there's a sudden surge of acid, the buffer just absorbs it. If there's a shortage of acid, the buffer releases some. It just keeps the whole system stable no matter what.
The magic of how a buffer works is all in this constant balancing act, this chemical seesaw. You see, it's made of two parts, a weak acid that can give away a proton, and its partner, a base that's ready to grab one. So when extra acid shows up, the base side just soaks it all up. If things get too alkaline, the acid side releases a few protons to balance it back out. It's this beautiful, self-regulating equilibrium that keeps your pH right where it needs to be.
Okay, so let's zoom out from this simple chemical idea and see how your body builds it into this super sophisticated body-wide network. Because your body isn't just a sealed-off test tube, right? It's a dynamic, open system with multiple lines of defense.
And here's something that might actually surprise you. We always think about pH balance in the blood, right? But get this, the majority of your body's buffering power, about 60% of it, is actually happening inside your cells.
And it's not just one buffer doing all the work. Your body uses a whole team. Hemoglobin, the stuff in your red blood cells, is an absolute powerhouse. Proteins inside all your cells do a ton of heavy lifting. Even your bones can act as this massive long-term reservoir to soak up acid. But there's one player on this team that is, by far, the most important of all.
The undisputed star of the show is the bicarbonate buffer system. Now, it's not because it's the strongest buffer, molecule for molecule. Its real power comes from something totally unique. It's not a closed loop. This is the absolute genius of the whole system. Your body cleverly links this simple chemical buffer to your major organ systems. So, when bicarbonate neutralizes acid, it creates CO2 and water. Then, your lungs can just breathe the CO2 out, literally removing acid from your body entirely. At the same time, your kidneys are working to pee out acid and regenerate fresh bicarbonate to keep the buffer supply topped up. This open design gives it a practically limitless capacity to handle acid.
But of course, sometimes this incredibly complex system can get overwhelmed by a serious disease, a major injury, or some kind of poisoning. And that's when you end up in these dangerous clinical states. Too much acid is acidosis, too little is alkalosis, and both of them can be seriously life-threatening.
And this is exactly why, in any hospital intensive care unit, one of the most common and crucial tests they run is called an arterial blood gas, or an ABG. It gives doctors a direct snapshot of a patient's pH, their carbon dioxide, their bicarbonate levels. It lets them see what's wrong and figure out how to correct these dangerous imbalances in real time.
So when you really stop and think about it, it's just remarkable. This silent, complex, and perfectly tuned symphony of chemistry that's happening inside you right now, linking your cells to your blood, to your lungs, to your kidneys. It's a non-stop, life-saving performance that happens with every single breath you take.